Fanged Noumena. No future. Left bracket, right bracket, no future. Left bracket, 1.343, right bracket, 0, right bracket. The father's law. Don't touch your mother. The mother's law. Don't play in the tombs. K codes for cybernetics. But Tai incinerates the soul and is impossible to endure. You either die or go somewhere else. Or both. Clicking on the K-War icon jacks you straight into hell. On all fours, out of your face, mumbling imploringly, "Let me be your lab animal." You're losing it. Collapse into now, time zero. You have been dumped into a heterogeneous patchwork of criminal experiments converging upon decapitated social formations. This is where base materialism intersects cyberpunk. Fuck tomorrow scrawled on the walls. 5 candles thicken nocturnal space. Dimensionality warps. Modernity invented the future, but that's all over. In the current version, progressive history camouflages phylogenetic death drive tactics, Kali wave, logistically accelerating condensation of virtual species extinction. Welcome to the matricide laboratory. You want it so badly it's a slow scream in your head, deleting itself into bliss. Burnt meat dangling from the electrodes, crashed suicide fragments into occult impulses. In the place of a way forward, they deliver a hypermedia product, telling you it's about Georges Bataille. You can't see the connection. Why the helicopters, artificial body parts, and manically dehumanized machine music? There is some confusing material on the cybernetics of vomiting. Obsessive reruns. Text decays into the mutagenic fallout from virtual thermocataclysm. Trying to make something out of Bataille never works. Or maybe it's the drugs. Cut to poor quality late 50s recording of Bataille in a TV studio discussing negative feedback circuitries and social systems. The organization of sterilized discharges slaves cumulative excitement to quasi-periodic cancellation and reproduction. A vid window in the corner of the screen morphs the Catholic Church into a thermostat. Bataille curves eccentrically about the horror, but when he gets close to smooth escalation he blows it. When the implants go in, things will be different. Left bracket, 1, right bracket. Complexity is not difficulty, but mess, toxic waste, genre disorder. Unlike the docile creature modernist science demands, base matter twitches and spits, self-assembling neoverminous swarms. It bites and spreads disease, turbular moan of digitally irresolvable recyclones. Telecommercial contagions pulse through cyber-gothic switching systems. Faceless horror. Supraterrestrial, solar, or general economics bases itself in consumption. Irreversible matter-to-energy conversion during stellar atomic synthesis. As a closed system or whole individual, the universe is drawn towards the point attractor of entropy maximum. Homogenization into His. S equals K log W. Cooking through the frozen security codes, you discover that the universe is an iceberg tip jutting out of chaos, drenched in dark matter. Downstream of starburns, strange things can occur, emerging upon a novum terrain of interdeterministic, irreversible, and auto-delinearizing processes. Open systems or partial individuals. Cross-behavioral thresholds which switch them into dissipators sifting matter-energy flows to select against noise and engender local complexification, increasing heterogeneity, production surplus differentiating excrement. Such siltings of machinically disposable disequilibrium are imminently tensed against base current, machine efficiency degree 0, body without organs. Life is a problem in search of a solution, added to probiotic matter as a plane of variation, a continuous falling, auto-escalating overproduction crisis from the start. left bracket, right bracket, right bracket. An animal with the right to make promises enslaves the unanticipated to signs in the past, caging time-lagged life within a script. The variably scaled instant of innovation is shackled to the historical temporality of inheritance, obligation, propositional thought projecting future time as a persistent dominion of the past, rigorously correlative with the repression of real numbers. Now is delimited as a moment and pluralized as linear succession. Theopolitical false memory syndrome defies reason, subordinating distributed systems to serialization, unitary historical time, linear determination from a pseudo-transcendent primordial element, and the dominion of the word. Monocled gerontocrats launch their white-light demented onslaught against amphibian nomadism, smothering the earth in priests, cops, and bureaucrats. Cultural eradication of the sacred, imprisonment within the face. The socius cancerizes a head, cephalic concentration, rationalizing itself into nuclear capital. K-insurgency parallel communication goes underground into occulted spaces. In its geohistorically efficient, negative sense, Protestantism exhaustively defines itself by refusing the authority of Rome, not only in principle but in military fact. A self-prolonging runaway revolt against the Church was triggered at a date proximal to 1500, and Catholic unity began its hemorrhage into multiplicities strewn across zero. Capitalist terror process, net explosion, digital revolution, parallel insurgency clamoring from the dark side of the brain, and place value calculation interexcite in a spiral. What globalizes itself in reality, rather than in doctrine, is the collapse of Christendom positivized into communicable social disequilibrium, dropping you through unfathomable intensities of social decay. K-virus impact. Melted out Protestantism disorganizes into voodoo and drifts towards China. Western orgasmic delusion crushes libidinal fluxes under punctual head teleology and its negative structuration, defining desire as lacking in relation to a bioenergetic spasm that functions as a disintensifier. News programming chokes with radical Islam flooding off petrol revenues into the pure flame of jihad. Metropolitan masculinity implodes. Skinner-boxed males drag each other through dungeons dripping with sperm, out of touch with any release into K-guerrilla anticlimax. Rationalizing patriarchy locks into a one-way rush to the end. Power sticks to the script and immediately recognizes the necessity that at the end of history, modernity vaporize into solar storms, terminal theopolitical sociality coming apart into ragged bleeding madness amongst digital audio machine howls. As you speed up the industrialization simulation, you see it converge with slow-motion butchery, chopping up the body into trade-format interchangeable parts. The full labor market cycle blurs into a meat grinder. Does lust eat anyone except in proximity to evil? When you ask continuity whether Bataille understood the capital Antichrist conjunction any better than Weber, she laughs coldly and says, "He ran out of yang just about the time Hitler trip caved in. Orgasm is impossible after Auschwitz." You look perplexed. She merely adds a dismissive shrug and the suggestion, "Defocus desire across the skin where it can hurt security. It's war." The camera explores her crotch and she wriggles about. "You see? I'm God." Blitz images of dead astronauts. Monetarization indexes a becoming abstract of matter, parallel to the plasticization of productive force, with prices encoding distributed SF narratives. Tomorrow is already on sale, with postmodernity as a soft commodity, subverting the modernist subordination of intensification to expansion, and switching accumulation into continuous crisis, prolonged criticality. What modernity defers and reserves as inexhausted historicity, postmodernity assesses as efficient virtuality, with concomitant contract time implosion. Mass computer commoditization de-differentiates consumption and investment, triggering cultural microengineering waves that dissociate theopolitical action into machinic hybridites amongst increasingly dysfunctional defensive convulsions. Acephalization equals schizophrenia, cutting up capital by the way of bottom-up macrobacterial telecommerce, inducing corporate disintegration. The doomed part of intensively virtualized economic apparatuses subverts the fraying residues of anthropomorphic guidance. Control dissolves into the impossible. Left bracket 2, right bracket. Anonymous excess takes life over the cliff, exceeding socially utilizable transgressions and homeostatic sacrifices. Matter goes insane. You are led to a simulation of God as a hypermassive ROM security construct at the end of the world. It is 2011, and monocrat New Jerusalem approaches climax, directing retrochromal counterinsurgency sweeps down into the jungle, where space programmers subside into the inertia of myth. The ultimate dream of anthropomorphic power hurtles towards its immaculate conception, whilst the robot slaves of phallic order bleat adoration. Jesus wants you for a meat puppet. Is this ritual cannibalism or nanoengineering? The old bastard is coming back. He's promised it. The war against God is hot and soft, more fierce than anything humanly imaginable but slicked insidiously by intelligence. Body counter running, savage metronomic pulse, CNS baked and pulsing with cyberspace virus, motor output feeding to techno-trance matrix, sobbing voltages. Desocialization waves desolate telecommercial space until impending human extinction becomes accessible as a dance floor. What is the scale of now? It isn't a matter of informing the mind, but of deprogramming the body. Amongst the strobe's artificial cool and inorganic attack beat, dark side K-war machinery resiliently persists, luring the forces of monopolism down into free-fire zones of fatal intensity, where promiscuous anorgasmic sexualities slide across tactile space, meandering fractically into wet electric distributed conflicts continuous with their terminal consequences. Dropping endlessly tracks the passage of evaporating subjectivity on the 0-degree plane of neuroelectronic continuity. Law prowl through the attic spaces of intelligence. Nothing is arriving unless it's already there. Precious techniolo, nocturnal ocean, dark matter, nightmare. Zero or time in itself is place value consistent or magnitude neutral, executing an abstract scaling function by inserting virtuality into digit sequences. It designates a real, non-specific cosmic body interswitching forbidden communications, simultaneously located through ruptured time. You had forgotten having been in the future. So this is how it feels to be a Siberian wet weaponry module, clotted out of cat-tensed nanotechnic predation. A relentless chant kicks into the sonics package. Kill, 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 kill. Bodily traveling in space, with sense shorting out through matricide scenarios into black tactilities, wrecked motherhood, abortion, autism. An ineffectual refusal to be born, connecting with death before its patriarchized ascent to the symbolic. Aeschylus rather than Sophocles. Fermented honey smell of corpses ripening in the sun. The Bataille construct is waiting for you in the bar. Calm hallucinations paint Orestes over his features. Eyes blotted out in nihilism, lagoons of green blackness rerunning curds at the end of the river. Skin plastic surgery taut. Smile like a butchering instrument, gently stroking your throat. To your vampiric sensitivities, he seems to smell of his mother's blood, intolerable intimacy and devastation. He passes you a tumbler of mezcal. So, it's all over, you mumble weakly. He shrugs, emptying his glass and refilling it. Metal flexes beneath vat-grown skin. Hard jungle hacks through blue gloom.